in the green room, huh? All right, I'm going to put it on my page too.
Let me double check. Meeting is live streaming.
Yeah, sure. All right, we're all good. All right.
Just double check.
So listen, I figured we'd start with a little COVID-19 update because even though it seems like it. Morning, everybody. Welcome to the green room. So it's Thursdays. So I can't believe it's another Thursday. I mean, the weeks go by so fast, and it's just crazy. Been in kind of like a time warp. I've told everybody. I don't know if everybody's had the same experience. This week's kind of slowed down a little bit, interestingly so. But really, I mean, every week goes by in a day. Every a day and an hour. It's just crazy, and it seems like I'm taking my garbage out pretty much like every day. But it's Friday's tomorrow. But anyway, just giving a COVID-19 update, and it's funny. And in the green room, we try to stay not red, not blue, but green. But to this extent, I got to call, really the leaders of the government out at this point. COVID-19 is not going to just fade away. Literally yesterday, I had my first. Come on in, Rudy. So listen, we had my first personal encounter with COVID-19. Somebody called me last night, said they thought they had it. What should they do? What should they do? And I said, well, go to the urgent care because I think, quite frankly, if you're ill with fever and sore throat and this and that, that's where you can go to get the practical advice. And I think they do have the tests right now.
They do.
In almost every urgent care.
Even CVS now has them. They're advertising.
CVS has a COVID test?
Yes,
I wouldn't trust a CVS COVID test. I'm not putting CVS down specifically. Listen, if I'm sick and I feel I have COVID-19, and this has always been my feeling about it to the extent of the remote testing centers and this and that, I'm not against them. But the best care is to see a physician or a nurse practitioner or another, healthcare provider when you get your test done. I think you're going to be guaranteed that the test is done right. I mean, I've always said it. You need to get a little brain matter even, when you do, when you do your nasal swab. And I know, Rudy, you had one.
I had one, and I was negative.
Right. So did they actually have to go really up into the nasal?
They do. They go, but it takes, honestly, like not even 2 seconds.
I understand that. Oh, I know.
And you're done.
I'm not fearing people off it.
No.
But I think in the urgent care
seconds.
environment, my suspicion is you get those results within the 20-minute or a half hour while you're there. You do. And then if it's negative, of course, you can get other things done. Maybe remember, guys, influenza A and B and just the regular influenzas are still out there too.
And they're coming in the fall, so just
listen. You walked in when I was talking about the time warp that we've all been living in. In the fall is going to be in the blink of an eye.
It will. It's going to be like.
No, it is.
And we all have to gear up. In fact, it was funny. I don't know if all the small businesses did the PPP loans. Well, part of the answer back to the PPP loan is how are you going to project for the fall? Because even the government is projecting, they're projecting fall numbers are not going to look good for us.
And listen, it's June, 16th today. So it's halfway through June. We're going to be into July.
It's already around the corner.
Right. Yeah. The corn in Ohio will be knee high. Knee high by the 4th of July. It's those kind of things that slip in. So I just wanted to start with the update on COVID-19. Listen, just to let our patients know, and I think everybody else know, we are still wearing masks on patient encounters. We are checking temperatures. We're asking patients to wear a mask when they come in. Most patients very respectful of the process. Every once in a while, somebody is a little bit hesitant. Then I will walk out to the parking lot to see my patients in the bright sunshine and wind. And stay 6 or 8 feet away. But my point is, we're here, we're active, we have our isolated area room if people want to come in through the side door and avoid
we're still very safe.
We are, and we know that we need to be because listen, you see the bars and restaurants are opening up, having to close back up because they have an employee.
The mayor of Miami is like, you know what? Going back.
And that's just leading into the topic of telehealth. Listen, it's the 16th today, so we have 14 more days to do it because June 30th, we believe telehealth will fade away. Now, Miami-Dade had to back off, reopenings, this, that, whatever, but we do believe that it's going to take an emergency order reestablished by the governor to keep telehealth going. My understanding, maybe Rudy, you know better, but I think the original emergency order is over on July 7th, is what I've been told.
I think it is going to be over, even though the numbers are going up and up and up. I think DeSantis wants to just have it go back to normal. I know
maybe there's a halfway measure. We can still declare an emergency health care order. Okay. something that allows for a mid-range, that allows practices like ours to continue to offer a safe alternative for our
You know,
patients.
and I think
Maybe
that-
something to talk to, Senator Gruters about, or,
I think to the legislators that are still, hopefully doing something, because we need that, because ultimately, if you look, the medical practices, the hospitals, the doctor's offices, the dentist offices, we're still in really close contact with patients. We're touching them. They're coming in. They might be positive and they still don't know it. They're not tested. And we
It
need
has to be about patient safety, and I think-
safety and employee safety.
and I think the OU and the state should be well reassured, if you look at the numbers, that since the institution of telehealth in March, nothing has changed. There has not been an explosion. In fact, there's been a
Yeah.
slowdown of new patients, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I learned yesterday that I had one of the reps in. Some clinics are still not physically open. Some clinics are still seeing all of their patients, recertifications only, because new patients have to be seen physically.
Yeah.
So some patients have not yet physically reopened. We never closed because of my desire to make sure that every single patient who wants to be in the medical cannabis program and deserves to
But
be,
we did it with extreme caution. Like you said, we had an isolation.
And knock
room,
on
temp
wood,
zones, or
for
yeah,
sure.
knock on
and
wood.
we've got, so we're going to continue to do that because we
Yeah.
know we're one test away, like everybody else.
Like everyone else.
That's right.
So
So
no, it's
telehealth,
scary.
listen, I think there are maybe some things that can be done, but maybe a halfway order just for healthcare perhaps, or something like that. But the point is, it is legislative
Mhm.
and it is in statute. And people ask me that all the time. Why can't we just do it? Well, because it was voted in the constitutional amendment, quite frankly, that we can't do it. So it's one of those things that is legitimately on the list of job protections and nursing home
Speaking of job
access.
protections, shout out
Let's
to
go.
the Supreme Court.
Yes.
Shout out for LGBTQ
Absolutely.
rights. Amen.
And I think Neil Gorsuch, comes out,
bravo
as
to
a
the
shining
status.
light of, and listen, from what I understand, his decision was based on his conservatism of interpretation of the law, which is
was
as
the
it should
law.
be.
It is. It's protection of every citizen. I don't care if you're gay, straight, black, anything. You should be protected. You're a human being. You should be protected under the Constitution. They ruled it correctly.
And I'm looking
And
for
I'm
the
so
term
proud,
that they
except
use
for
for
those
it.
couple turds that did it.
I'm looking for the term that they use for it. It's not literalist necessarily, but there's a term with quotes around it that is his ideology as far as his interpretation of the Constitution.
And they interpreted it correctly.
And it's interesting because once
It's
again, I think
protection for
those
all human
big
rights.
C conservatives or little c conservatives, I don't know, but those that really want abortion rights to go away, that really want, all the LGBT, all that stuff to go away, to ratchet back society.
But the thing is,
They
it's
kept
human
getting,
rights.
but they kept getting surprised
I
that somehow they
know.
can't find the judges that they think they're gonna get.
I know, and they're like, oh my gosh, they passed the rights for the LGBT
Even when they're appointed by the
community.
Federalist Society, right off their list, this, that, whatever. So Neil Gorsuch is still a man of 2020, thank God.
Thank God. Honestly,
And where's
thank God.
Kavanaugh? Why is
Oh,
his belief
Kavanaugh
different?
still went off the deep end.
Clarence
The other
Thomas
Tyrus-
somehow
Clarence Thomas
continues
is
to
another
exist
one.
in his own little bubble.
They're all in their own little bubble.
I
And
know.
the thing is, really, they should rule with the law.
But a 6'3", it's not even 5'4".
No,
so
no,
they have
no,
to
it
give a
wasn't
big
even
heads up to
close. It wasn't
Chief
even
Justice
close.
Roberts as well, who I think,
So job
you know.
protections are there.
And should we even go near John Bolton today?
All right, we have to.
How can you not?
How
Listen,
can you
John
not?
Bolton, I'm gonna let you go
And
first. Nina,
honestly,
'cause
I'm really
I'm the
pissed.
medical side, you're the
Oh,
political
no,
side.
political side is I am pissed off at John Bolton. The man could have taken this 45th president down for what he did, and he kept his mouth shut till the very end. And now he decides to go and make money and sell his book. I'm sorry, I am so angry with him.
See, I say what he did, you say what he did, Ruda, but I say what he continues to demonstrate every day that he continues to do.
Well, he
He doesn't live with the same moral compass that
He
the
doesn't-
vast majority of the rest of us do.
Well,
That's
no,
in
it's not even.
business.
It's un-American.
It-
He is the most
it's dangerous.
un-American American president. The man goes to every foreign dignitary, every foreign nemesis to get help. Who does that?
It's scary.
And people are like, "Oh, okay. What
No.
are you kidding me? It's not okay."
It's scary, and it
It's
cannot be a
wrong.
new norm, in
No,
my
it
personal
cannot.
opinion.
God
And I'm an
help us.
independent. I am.
God
I
help
voted
us.
for Republicans in the past. I
Look,
voted for
I'll
Ronald
support a
Reagan in the
president who's
past.
a good. I voted
I
for
will
Reagan
too.
when I was young. I did. If it's a good person, you should go with the person, but you cannot go with an amoral person.
No, and that's
You
what
just
this points
cannot.
out to me is that it wasn't one episode; it's an everyday
No, it's constant.
vision of how he interprets the Constitution, which I don't think he's ever
Well,
read,
he
nor
doesn't really
does.
know, and if it's not in some kind of magazine form,
But it's
he
the
really will
complicity
not.
of others. It's the Boltons. I mean, it's the
version
Boltons.
of the Constitution.
It's the Boltons and those that have been there with him that have left the administration and have known why they've left
They
this
know,
administration.
and this is the other thing is why I understand you're trying to protect the presidency. The presidency should be above anything. But the problem is if you have an incompetent president, at some point you have to protect the country
Listen, I'm going to make
from
a bold.
itself.
I'm going to make a bold prediction, and I've heard it already this morning from others. I would not be surprised if we go into September-ish. He's 15, and I'm talking about the president of the United States, is 15 or 20 points down in pretty much all the polls, all the big states, all this, all the. I'm telling you, he may step away. He hates losing. He hates losing more than
he
almost
hates
anything
losing.
else in the world.
Well, maybe he'll claim some medical problems since his little stumble down the stairs.
He can claim a lot of different
Annapolis.
things, and he can claim I had the
I
best
know.
percolating economy that we've ever had, and then this
Maybe COVID will
happened, and
take
now I
him
got to go
down.
away, and he can ride off into the sunset on his white horse, as far as I'm concerned. But I think he knows that he's got too much legal. He's in legal troubles if he's not in office. If the Democrats want to go after him, if they do,
I
and
think as
I
a
would rather
country-
not.
I don't want the
away.
conflict. I just want
don't
I just
either.
want a respectful president who leads our country for the good of our country.
You know what I want,
the good
Rita?
of its people.
I want to
That's all
watch
I want.
baseball in the
I want a little
evening.
bubble. I like my bubble of thinking.
I want to
American
watch
free.
baseball. I want to watch baseball in the evening again. I don't want to watch politics. And
No, I want to sleep at night.
I
don't
I
wanna
want
be
to get
so
back
upset
to the
at what's
normal
happening.
that we had before, a new
Exactly,
normal
a new
of washing our
normal.
hands more, wearing a mask, getting the truth from government, believing that we're seeing it.
Taking the press too. Okay, the press, do they step over bounds? Yes, but I'm sorry to disrespect the press corps to the degree that this president
I just
has.
want some
I'm
degree
not,
of
I
normalcy
don't want to
back.
hear. I don't want to hear fake news. I'm so sick of that term. I don't want to hear it.
So
ever
I'm
again
really
in my
interested in the
lifetime.
Lincoln Project, for example, to the extent of if there's, and I've said this for a while, and I do believe it. I think the first 5 Republican senators that get together and go to the White House and say no more. This can't be. I think they will be the heroes 2 years from now that may save that party. That's been my personal belief for the past 2 years.
You do have like the Mitt Romneys coming out. You do. They're starting to creep out a little bit, speak out. But the fear and
But that's why the Lincoln Project is interesting, because maybe they will come up with an alternative.
Maybe they will. And,
Because Biden, God bless him, I mean, Grandpa Joe, I mean, he's sitting there in the basement. He's gaining points just from being there as a steady rock and speaking as presidents do, and speaking to the police reform process and the social reform process in a way that now we're seeing some of the Republican senators doing, and I'm gratified that we're seeing movement on these social issues. But this is what our Congress should be doing every day, is addressing these social
They
issues.
should be. And I think for Biden, this is a shout out. Val Demings, you should be the girl. You
Yeah.
should be the VP, Val Demings.
Listen,
Shout out
I'm
to
gonna-
our Val.
Listen, I'm gonna just tell a secret. We really wanted to try to get Val onto our
we
Zoom.
did, but she was on Ellen that day. So
Oh, is that what it was? Was it Ellen that day?
she was
Listen, I would love to have Val Demis come into our clinic, to our clinic, make sure that Vice President Biden as well gets the proper vision of medical cannabis. I mean, let's not forget where we're sitting. Listen, it became very obvious to me, and I sent you guys a copy of it. Don's behind the camera, of the propaganda in the CME world.
Oh my God. Against
And I didn't want to say the name of the CME organization
No,
or
but
anything. If
there
anybody's
are
interested, reach
lectures.
out to me. I'll send you a copy.
Oh my God, there's
We're in the
lectures
age of
going on.
nuclear potency
Uh-huh.
cannabis.
Yeah, nuclear potency cannabis
And-
with the downfalls of people
No, I
going
could
into
pull it up.
psychosis.
No, I mean-
it's insanity. Some of the stuff that's out there
And
for
it's a-
propaganda against
It
marijuana.
is. It's a
crazy.
3.5 hour webinar offered
Oh my
twice
God, it's
in
ridiculous.
July for $59 for every healthcare professional.
Oh, but
So
if
they
you're
can
not,
learn.
but wait, but if it's not, what was the fee for that webinar? Wasn't it like $600?
No, that was for something else.
Oh,
That
okay,
was
so I was
actually
like,
for
my
the
God.
American Telehealth Association.
Oh, that was telehealth.
interestingly.
Yeah, that was telehealth. All of
But
these
the point
people
is-
for webinars.
And I want to continue to make the point. Those that don't know what's going on in the medical cannabis world these days will continue to focus on THC, 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 THC. that is the first thing that tells me that we're going to beat them. We're going to beat them easily because what we're about is the whole cannabinoid profile and the terpenes and the flavonoids, in other words, whole plant, right? And the beauty of what we do, and we've had some fantastic patients over the
Oh my
past
God,
couple of weeks,
amazing stories.
new patients,
A lot of new patients.
a lot of Doobie One new patients, people that have never utilized medical
Yes,
cannabis,
those
can't
who
believe
don't know
they're
what a
walking into
doobie
the
is, because I
office.
didn't know what a doobie was either. So a doobie one is somebody who's never used medical marijuana or any marijuana.
Well, a doobie is the slang term
I
for
know.
a
I
marijuana
didn't know.
cigarette.
I didn't know that.
Right,
So
yeah.
there's many of you
Right.
listening on my Facebook page that probably are like,
It's
what's
good,
a
though,
doobie?
Because no, that's why it is the doobie scale. Because literally, a patient that doesn't even know what a doobie is has not anybody that's just not ever done it themselves, but hasn't really known anybody else that's done it. So
Yeah.
there's actually kind of subcategories, as you guys know, of our doobie scale. But the point is this: listen, we're going
What is
to
a minus -10 doobie?
so we're going to continue to discuss whole plant product, all the cannabinoids, the CBD, the CBN, the CBG. I love when those that don't understand, their eyes blank out. What are those? Well, those are the ones that Richard Nixon said are not worth even value of study as medicine.
You know what? I think
You know,
for the next
Schedule
one, the
One.
next green room that we're going to do is we're going to actually do a little one-on-one on medical cannabis. I think we really need to do that. So next week, you guys, I think everybody tune in because we're going to give you Dr.
Sure.
Berry's 101, which is like an amazing education. I think that would be excellent because I think so many people are probably watching and going, like, what's he talking about? What's the cannabinoid? What's that? And
That's the making the lemonade out of lemons that we want to do because of the virtual world that we've kind of been forced into.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that people are now sitting at home working in their pajamas and doing what they do, but maybe able to watch us at home.
But they
now, too, you know?
are. But they are. They're in their pajamas, or they go into a conference with like a nice top, and then the bottoms are either shorts or pajamas or a bathing suit. So
But this actually goes all the way back to
not that I
January.
did that.
And this actually goes all the way back to January of 2017 when we opened. We had 3 missions, and we continue to have 3 missions. The first and foremost will always be patient care, right? Always. I mean, that's what every center needs to focus on. If you're looking for a medical cannabis doctor and you're not in our area, or maybe even if you are, make sure that you ask the right questions before you walk into your cannabis clinic. Do they educate, right? How do they do their orders? There's subtleties to the program. The second thing is advocacy, right? Advocacy. And that's become even more
It's even more
important as we
important now.
develop because of how society itself is developed.
is.
And I like to say it's a lot of things that I think goes along with the social injustice and policing these days. You can't police and talk about social injustice in 2020 without understanding that we're in 2020 where everything is visualized, right? So we're not 1950, we're not 1980, this is 2020. And I say the same thing about cannabis. Cannabis is visualized now. You can go, you can do your own reading. It is in society.
It is in society.
There's too many examples of Willie Nelson and everybody else underneath him. Willie would be the Doobie 4, by the way. He the opposite of the Doobie 1. But Willie's 85 and has been out there doing
What he
wonderfully,
does, yeah.
right? And there's Snoop Dogg and others, of course, and businessmen. And it's unbelievable when you go to cannabis conventions, and that used to be, of course, physically, and you would see the bankers and the lawyers and the owners of the cannabis companies to that extent. So it's very interesting.
It is interesting.
And yeah, so it's pay, and then the third, of course, is patient education, which we learned actually is patient care and what we do. So
It is.
we continue to do that. We'll continue to do that.
Well,
And part
so
of
we'll
that
give you
is
a
these type of
one-on-one next time.
outreach, to those that don't yet know really what we do.
And just a shout out to for everybody listening. One, go register to vote if you haven't. I have to get that.
I
plug
checked.
in.
We're into the mail zone and everything.
Make
So
sure you
we're
do.
yeah,
You can do vote by mail.
very easy. Just call the supervisor of elections
Very
right on the
easy.
phone. They
And then
confirm.
also, if you have a candidate who's calling you or knocking on your door and saying, "Give me $5," give them the $5. It takes a lot of money to run a campaign. You're doing it grassroots, so please get out there, support your candidates who are running for office. It's not an easy job to do. It's exhausting, and it takes money to get ads out and get the word out. So please support all your local candidates.
So
who running for office.
is there a way of engaging on our issues to that extent when people reach out to look for donations? I mean, can you let them know that, hey, these are the things that are important to me?
Oh yeah, if you go on Compassionate Cannabis website, which is VeniceCare.com, we're going to be posting different organizations that we as an organization are really strongly supporting for many reasons. Mainly it's patient care and basic, just human values.
Well, there's people that are out there that are doing great educational
great
efforts
things.
and great
So,
outreach efforts.
If anybody ever wants to give and is looking for an organization to give, please get on our website, which is venice-care.com, and we'll be posting different sites that you can give to as well.
Yeah, but I think I was also making the point, if a candidate reaches out to me and they want, money, that doesn't mean that there's a quid pro quo. Okay, of course. But I think it's reasonable to say, hey, listen, medical cannabis is an important issue.
Hey, and I think, you know what,
You know?
we also, I'm gonna speak for Dr. Berry. We invite any candidate who wants to come on our Thursday Green Room show. They can come
Absolutely.
out and debate here. We'll be moderating and we'll be talking about medical cannabis and impacts and legislation on a local, state, every level.
Well, listen, that'd be
So
great.
we're more than welcome to come out and debate here.
And we
Of
can
course.
even get them on a Zoom.
And we can get them on a Zoom.
Yeah,
And
we
live
can
stream
We
it.
can get a live stream Zoom.
We can do all kinds of things. And I think people do know that we are open door to everybody if they want to come on in and see the product room, see what's going on, sit in on a couple,
I think it would be
patient
great to
education
hear what the
sessions.
candidates who are running for office stand on medical marijuana.
no doubt.
I think a great Zoom. I think we have an opportunity to hear from the Senate races, from the congressional races.
And it's
From
the time to
everyone.
do it
I
because we
think
know the
so.
committee meetings and all that start, in October,
Yeah,
November.
so it makes all of our, listen, hey, if it makes our viewers and our patients more aware of who's going to be the one that supports medical cannabis for them, and that's who they want to vote for, I think we need to do that. I think
It is the green room.
It's the green room.
After
So we
all.
bring in everybody. So I think we're probably running low on time, are we not?
I'm
So
sure
tune
my
in
first
next week.
telehealth patient is.
Yes, here. So
great.
we're gonna see you next week. We're gonna talk about medical cannabis. Dr. Berry's gonna give his
Great.
awesome lecture. So
Super.
see you next week.
Have a good day. All right,
Awesome.
guys.
I think we should invite all the candidates. I think it's a great forum.
No doubt.